extraction or integration. Um, for weapons, you would be able to extract the perk to store in the extract a trait. Um, After you have reforged a weapon, when you complete the forge, you're given a package that you have to take back to Banshee. When you take it to Banshee, that package can either be, you can choose to select one of the traits that was on that weapon, or you can choose to get that weapon plus, like with an additional, like with the rank increase, um, to push forward towards making it a brilliant weapon. Um, the benefit of extracting a trait from a weapon is that when you go to reforge another weapon of the same class, you can choose to prime that perk uh, for the reforge. So, um, let's say you have Dragonfly on um, a SMG, um, uh, Seven Seraph, right? Um, and you wanted to put it on your cold front. Well, you'd have to get that cold front up to brilliant, or rather up to a +4. And when you go to prime it for your brilliant forge, you can select from the perks that you've extracted thus far which one you want to be on the brilliant weapon. And so you would then have to complete the forge in order to have that new trait or that selected trait on this weapon that you prefer. So, um, that would shake up all of like the entire meta, because you really can't track how people are going to react. Yeah, there are going to be trends. There's going to be things that, oh well, as like Aztec Ross prefers this trait on all of his shit. Glad prefers these traits on all their stuff. Well, this way you can have a weapon that is that complements your playstyle in more ways than, oh, it rolled the way that I wanted it to. So yeah, I don't like, it took me like 500 tries of getting it to drop in order to find the perfect roll, but I finally got that bitch. No, go to Banshee, who is now Clovis, but like who we fully now know and understand to be Clovis Prime, the original Bray.
Yep.
Take it to him.
It's like, who has the talent to do this shit in the first place.
Take the shit apart, pull that out, put this in, bam, gunsmith. Smiths make things. This man has just been deciphering redundant code for the last however long. No reason, no wonder his banks are fucked.
Like, it's like, I mean, like, it's funny how they fucked over in Banshee and Destiny 2 when, like, back in Destiny 1, it was quite literally, anytime you wanted a weapon that you didn't get from killing a boss, you got it from him.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are multiple exotic quests and the like that came from him because he made all of those weapons. Like he made the first curse. He made all of those guns that the Guardian, each of the Guardian classes got. That's Lawlock, Baby Strategy, and Ace. Technically, Banshee was the one that made Ace a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like this super uber powerful hand cannon that Cade uses. Yeah, it's fucking, turns out fucking Clovis did it.
He made that shit. Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, and also hopefully that does happen within the next season, because at some point it was said that Banshee wants to go talk to the head.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be cool if, like, in the next season, it does turn out that Banshee, you know, by talking to the Clovis, the AI and the Deepstone Crypt, that, like, you know, he gains some of his memory back and thusly, like, more of his skill. So it's like, hey, guess what? I can do shit your weapons now, and I can make a bunch of other ones.
Hey,
and I would have to say the reason would have to be the I'd have to say the reason for Banshee and Clovis actually, giving Banshee his memories back in the is that like again in my head canon the way it's gonna work is that oh yeah no you guys got to like the surface level of the Deepstone Crypt, and now Aramis and Savathun have her minions all up in my business. So I need to give y'all as many weapons of the shit as you can, so you can go down there and stop them from destroying the solar system. Because I made some fucked up weapons down there.
Facts. Clear them the fuck out and keep them out my shit. And that could be a new activity. A fucking survival mode.
Oh wait, yeah. Okay, so actually, I came up with a diagram for a survival mode a little while ago. I wanted to tell you about it. It was I got the inspiration from Gears of War, because Gears of War honestly has one of the best horde survival modes in gaming. Honestly, like I'm gonna be straight up here. Like, if you've never played Gears horde mode, you're missing out. It's so much fucking fun. Oh my god. Because the way they did it right was that they had big ass maps who had different defense points that like either you could pick or the game picked for you if it was the challenge mode, and then you went there, and then the game sent predetermined or like random waves of enemies at you that percentually got harder, but as you killed them you gained points that you would use to spend on defenses, and those defenses came in the form of like barbed wire or laser grids or mines or turrets. All this like things that would keep the monsters at bay and reduce their numbers, so you don't have to do too much of the work. And then occasionally there'd be boss waves or special things that would happen during it to make it either harder or easier. Another thing I pulled information from was Plants vs Zombies, because the Garden Warfare series had their own horde mode, and the way that worked was in the same vein. You could put defenses to help you keep the zombies back, but after every 5 rounds, a slot machine would come down, and it would basically the slot machine would randomly pick what kind of a boss wave it was. So it'd be like, oh hey, so it rolled this monster, and this monster. Now these 3 bosses are going to spawn during the fight. Or if you roll all of the same one, it spawns 3 of those guys, and they're all super powerful because of the super boss wave. So to put it in Destiny, the way it would work, so let's just come up with a random map. Like let's say we're on Nessus, right? And like the map itself is made up of like part the kind of earth with all like the red grass on it, but then lots of blocky Vex structures that we know and love. There are 3 defense points the game can pick. The game picks one, and then the other 2 become monster spawn points. There's always at least one place that is not a monster spot, that's not a defense point, but monsters will always come from there. But all the other defense points, once the game picks the one that you choose, picks the one that you defend, those other 2 become places where monsters can come from. So it's just like they're so that way, like, you won't always know where they're coming from, but like it'll still be predictable enough that it won't be like behind you or some shit. Well, depending on the map, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it works off of the same kind of point system. You get points by killing monsters, maybe dependent on certain like modifiers or its intrinsic things. Obviously, if you kill a monster with a precision hit, you get more points. You kill monsters with abilities. I was actually going to say you don't get like as much, because abilities are almost all the abilities result in multiple casualties, but it still gets you a decent amount of points.
I would say it gets you points, but I would say the focus of using an ability to kill is enhanced regeneration. So you get your abilities back a little bit faster in this game mode.
Oh yeah, no, 100. You definitely do, and you can increase various things. Like, obviously, certain things will change to keep it reasonably fair. Like I definitely feel like your abilities can come back faster, but your supers, and this is obviously going to cause some people some problem. Supers aren't going to last as long, because you're going to have a debuff the whole time. called I'm gonna call it. I really forget what it's called. Yeah, because
Observer's
basically the way it's gonna
presence.
work is that
Like you're being watched by
something like
somebody
that.
with power. Like you're being
Yeah.
watched
So
with
he.
somebody that has a stronger connection to entities or like more power than you, and there's this suppressing gaze. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, like something along those lines that basically when
Each
you're
round
not in
increases the
your
stack.
super. Oh yeah, no, yeah. So that way, and this is no, this is gonna be bad too, because the way it will work is that like when you're not in your super, your abilities do regenerate faster on harder difficulties, and as the rounds go up, this buff eventually goes away. I don't think I'll ever. I don't think like. I don't think what we'll do is like we'll have negative effects in that regard. But as the rounds go up, your super does not last as long. So, and the reason I would say that is because that way it also discourages people from just running builds to where they, you know, run a roaming super the whole time. Because I'll be honest, this mode could easily be fucked over if like a storm trance or a hammer of soul just
Diminishing
run around the whole
returns.
time. It would
Diminishing
be
returns.
a playground for them.
Mm-hmm.
Which um, but for single shot and supers like Nova Bomb or Thunder Crash or fucking the Night Stalker shot, like sure there'll be diminishing returns in like maybe orb generation, but not in the way you think. Orbs will give out less super energy, but you'll still produce the same amount of orbs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because there are still plenty of abilities that activate based on orbs.
Right.
Plus, um, another thing for the game mode, because it's Destiny, it has its own special gear, which to make the community happy, and because I want it to be like this, each map has its own gear set. Like
Yes.
just in general, like yeah, like
Yes.
each map has, because each map is going to be a different planet. So
Every
and
strike has
each
a gear
planet,
set. Every Crucible map has a gear
yeah,
set. Every Gambit map has a gear. Every Gambit map has a gear set. Um, each raid has its own has 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 gear sets depending on like.
mm-hmm.
So for example, because there are 3 roles throughout Deepstone Crypt, there would be 3 raid sets. There would be 3 raid sets, and the raid sets would have intrinsic traits tied to the raid. They would also have they'd have their mod slots. Um, that was the other thing. Harmonization gives you another mod slot, um, um, as well. So, but raid armor. So for Deepstone, there would be um, an operator set, a scanner set, and a disruptor set. Excuse me. That would lend themselves either add bonus effects to those um, uh, uh, effects, bonus traits to those effects, or have them like make them passive effects for the armor set. Like when you're wearing the entire set, like if you're wearing the whole
Figures.
operator set or three pieces of operator armor, you always have operator active regardless of who's carrying the node, because your armor acts as the node
Mm-hmm.
itself, so you can't be disrupted, or you can
Yep.
be disrupted but only for 30 seconds at a time, but
Mm-hmm.
never the same time as
Um.
the active operator token. You know,
Uh. Yeah.
but
I guess what I was gonna say.
with
Uh.
with Last Wish, um, there could be a set, like there would be a set for the vault, because the vault has a unique mechanic, so there'd be a set specifically for that. In addition, so Wish Ender would have, not Wish Ender, Last Wish would have 2 armor sets. Um, we don't have Scourge anymore. Garden. Um, there's Defender, right?
Huh?
The rolls
Which kind
for
of think about?
garden. Rolls for garden. Um,
Oh wait, no, no, there technically aren't rules for garden. You can just get
buffs.
the
Yeah.
mods that do. Yeah, you do the mods that do various things depending on the buffs or
Yeah.
like where you're at. There's mods that will like increase the timer of the
Hmm.
what's it called,
Yeah. There's a
the
relay
buff that you need
defender.
to break the shields,
Yeah.
like as long as you're around the relay.
Yeah. There's relay defender. Um, tether defense. But yeah, yeah. You get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Um. Oh yeah. And the thing I was actually gonna mention, because we were on the topic of the armor sets doing stuff, was the armor sets for all the maps. Um, they obviously will have their own intrinsic abilities, just based on the maps alone. But I've always kind of liked the mods system, but like I never liked how it was, done. But
because it's
in the
restricted
same
as fuck.
vein, basically, yeah, you could get mods specifically for the survival mode, as to like, increase point gains from blank. But I don't want any mods. Just I basically, I would only let very particular things let you do more damage in general, because the enemies aren't gonna procedurally get so tough that you can't kill them normally. I mean, sure, after a while in the horde mode, red bars will stop
Showing
being
up,
as
right?
prevalent, and there's gonna be
You'll just
more
have orange
yellow and
bars.
oranges.
Mm-hmm.
But then I want to have mods that you can only get by progressing that far, and then it'll be RNG, of course, and then if you can get the mods, those mods will help you deal more damage to enemies, to like yellow bars and orange bars,
Yeah.
so you can keep going. And by the way, all these horde and survival modes are going to have sets like, oh, get to wave 10, wave 15, blah blah blah. But
Mm-hmm.
then you can also just queue up a endless mode too. Like if you
Yeah.
really, you feel ballsy, and the way endless mode would work is that it has a slower progression of difficulty because it's going to last a while.
But it has a
But
heavier weighted pool
um,
in the
uh
later
huh,
in the later waves. So like the first
yeah,
10 waves of endless, meh, but it's not as like you'll probably just get a standard legendary. Um, but once you get past 20, 10 to 10 to 20, there's a chance for an exotic. Once you get past 20, um, it's like each wave has a percent increase for uh, adept, or rather like brilliant track, um, like brilliant weapons, harmonized armor, and exotics to drop. So once you hit level 30, there's like a 25% chance that you're gonna get a +2 weapon, or a +2 piece of armor, or an exotic, or a masterworked exotic. Like once you hit 40, it's a 35% chance that you're gonna get a +2 or +3 weapon or armor, or a masterwork or +1 exotic. You know, and that way, and yes, you'll have diminishing returns on your light generation, because the longer you progress, the more attention you're getting from these higher powers. Uh, the more uh, either the light or the darkness starts to pay attention to you, because you're despite the uh, pressure they're placing on you, you're still getting brighter or consuming more. Feel me?
Yeah.
And uh, um, so
Oh.
that would be how you'd balance that out, because I'm fairly certain that they're going to eventually, like, because of the passive advancement system that I'm going to implement as well. Uh, there are eventually there are going to be people who are going to be doing 100 round clears. Uh, like, for those
Easily,
individuals,
easily.
like, we'll cap it at 45%. Like, realistically, cap it at 45%, because essentially every other round you're getting something serious. Um, a major investment, like a potentially major investment, um, is being dropped as a reward. Um, and we'll cap it at a +3, because that's that's a lot of resources that are just being handed away, in terms of, like, grind and time investment. Um, we'd cap a +4 item at, say, 15% once you get past, say, round 60. Um, we would implement that as a possibility, but uh, giving away brilliant or synchronized in horde, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that before, say, 250 rounds,
Yeah.
because with the way that with the way builds work already, and the passive duration increases and cooldown reductions, that would be that would inevitably grow out of running survival. Um, yeah, yeah, that's a fair. Hey, we're gonna put this all the way out here because we don't want you to be able to get to it consistently for a little while.
Oh yeah.
And
We don't wanna.
and as far as power creep is concerned, because everybody's scared of power creep, um, it's a matter of moving decimal points. Once you hit a certain point, like once you've progressed to a certain point, uh, let's say, in the case of my bows, because that's gonna be probably the fastest measure of advancement we could draw for any one weapon, or yeah, for any one weapon class. Um, the primary stat for a bow would be draw time, obviously. Uh, Second
Yeah.
would, uh, um, a precision frame suggests that accuracy is what would be the secondary stat for 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 that, and lightweight would probably be handling, you think, or stability. Yeah.
Hmm.
But say at, because the standard measure is every 1,000 kills with a weapon type would generate a 0.1% increase, or rather 1% increase in that stat. Because, and I
Okay.
know, I mean, I really haven't been playing that much, but I've got 17,000 bow kills. So that's a 17% reduction in draw time for bows in my hand. And I realistically achieved that in 3 weeks. So if I were consistently playing and had been playing for the whole season, I'd probably have about 40,000 bow kills, um, which 40% seems a bit excessive. So past say 25%, you would kick that down to half of a percent increase. Um, Moving forward, so then it's essentially every 2,000 kills, I get an additional 1%. Um, so that's an extra 7%. So yeah, I would be sitting at 32% as opposed to 40%, um, which arguably isn't that much different. But it's a progression that is significantly slower. Um, at 40%, we throttle it down to a tenth of a percent because realistically speaking, realistically speaking, if you're putting that much energy into a single weapon type, you're not really you're not gonna notice like that throttling is not going to be so significant. It's not going to be noticeable. It's not going to matter as much at that point. Like at that point, you should be satisfied with the difference in your weapon performance because it's a universal difference. It's not just the weapon that you have in your hands that it applies to. So, and for firearms, it'll be significantly more useful because you're talking about um, uh, uh, you're talking about scout rifles increasing range and um, impact or reload speed across the board for all weapons that you use. Um, you're talking about shotguns, or rather, you're talking about auto rifles improving uh, rounds per minute and um, stability or magazine size for all weapons across the board because it's what your guardian does to a weapon that they place in their that is placed in their hands. Your light or like your power actually starts to affect your weapons because it's inherent to who you are as a guardian. So for
Yeah.
Hawthorne to use any of the shit that we touch, like that that gives more weight to the Black Armory weapons, which were supposed to be on par with Guardian weapons because of the radiant effect that you can apply to them. Um, that's a understandably noticeable difference now because Gaul took the light and with a little bit of tactics, we took that shit back. With just a little bit of tactics. That's all we did. We had a tactical approach. There was one guardian, and the rest of that counter attack force was just normal ass people. Guardians are only like as they're written right now. Guardians are only dangerous because they keep getting back up.
Oh fuck.
square, bitch.